Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this session we are going to learn about basic approvals. So to create the approvals we are going to use approvals connector, and using approvals connector we will learn about different types of approval options which is available inside the approvals connector. And all these things we will learn with the help of examples. So let's jump into the Power Automate to learn about approvals. So guys, I am inside the Power Automate, and over here the first step I am going to create a new flow which is of type Instant Cloud Flow, and over here I am going to select this one, manually trigger a flow, and over here I am going to give a name called Approval Demo, and then I will come down and click on Create. This is my step number 3. Now over here I am going to click on New Step, and within that I am going to search for approvals connector, and over here we will get this approvals connector, and within the approvals connector we are getting 3 options. Over here we are getting start and wait for an approval, create an approval, wait for an approval. The difference between these 3 is that the second one which we are seeing over here, start and wait for an approval, the moment approval action is being started it should wait for an approval. But on the other hand, you are seeing over here, create an approval. Create an approval will not wait for any kind of approval implicitly. If you want to make this approval to wait, then you have to explicitly use this particular action, wait for an approval within that particular flow wherever you are using create an approval action. And we will look into the example in this session for all these actions. But prior to that, I am going to start with the second one. The second action over here is start and wait for an approval. So I will select this one, and over here this action is being added to our canvas. And over here you will see that it is giving us to choose the approval type, and when you click on this drop down then you will find it is giving us 4 kind of options, where the first one is approve, reject, everyone must approve, approve, reject, first to respond, custom response, wait for all responses, custom responses, wait for one response. So as the name suggests that over here if you are using approve, reject, everyone must approve, that means all approvers should approve the request, then only it considered as approved request. If any of the user who has rejected, then that will be considered as rejected request. Then the second one over here is approve, reject, first to respond. So in this scenario, any one of the user, if he has or she has approved the request, then it is approved request. The third one is over here is custom responses, wait for all responses. Over here in this scenario, this particular action gives us ability to create the custom response as per our requirement, that we will look into that. And at last we are having custom responses, wait for one response. So this is similar to the approve, reject, first to respond, but the only difference is that it will give you the option to create your own custom response as per your business need. So let's start with a simple example with approve, reject, first to respond. So I will select this one. Once it is being done, over here I will specify the title over here. So I will give a title over here, that first to respond demo approval. Now in the assign to, we are going to assign the requester name over here to whom we want to send the request for the approval. So over here you must be asking that what kind of user we should add over here. So over here you can add email ID of the requester, user principal name of your approver, or you can add Azure Active Directory object ID of the approver. All these 3 types of approvers are allowed. Now what thing not allowed over here is Azure AD groups as well as O365 groups are not allowed. Only user personas are allowed over here. For our scenarios, I am going to add Alex as well as I'm going to add myself, Mukesh, Ranjan. So these are the 2 requesters. So now let's proceed further. Over here we will leave it as is, and then we will go to the show advanced option, and over here you will get that requester. So by default what happened that whenever you will send the approval request, it will go from the creator of the flow, that is the by default behavior. But this behavior you can change, and you can specify the requester name over here. So I am going to specify Megan. So here we are telling that the approval request is from Megan Bowen. Here one thing you should remember, that the requester is the person who is making the request for approval. That you can change. But the person who is creating this, the creator, is not going to be changed. That remains same always. So now let's proceed further. Another thing we will see over here, enable reassignment. So guys, this field gives us the capability to reassign the approval task to some other approvers if we want to delegate the approval. For our this demo, I am going to select no over here. Now next we are having the attachment. You can also send the documents along with the approval, and if you have any document associated with your approval request. For our case, it is not required now in this demo. So now we are done with the configuration of this step. Now let's proceed further and click on new step, and over here I am going to add a condition over here. So I am going to use the condition connector, and over here I am going to grab the outcome. So over here you will see that from this step we are getting all these values over here, and I want to use it. I'm going to use this outcome. Whatever the values it has, I'm going to leverage it for our condition checking, and our approval response is sitting in this outcome parameter which is coming from the previous steps. So I will click this one and I will tell that is equal to approve. So I will write over here approve. So if user has approved it, and because we are working on the approve reject first to respond, if any of the user has approved it, so the request is being approved, consider that approved. So that's the reason I am just checking over here if outcome is equal to approve. So on the basis of the outcome I am going to take the decision. So over here I am going to add yes no condition over here. So now on the basis of the outcome I am going to specify the action for yes case as well as action for no case. So it is, let me reduce the size. So over here we are going to add an action over here. For the yes case I am going to use the compose action, as this is just a demo, to mark it as approved if it is being approved. So over here I am going to tell approve, and for the reject case I am going to add an action. Over here I will again write compose and choose the compose operation, and over here I am going to tell that rejected. Now let's save it. So I have saved it, and now let's run it. So to run it I am going to click on this test, and over here I am going to run it manually. The moment you select this manual option you will get this test button enabled, and then we need to click on this test button. So let me run this one. So let's click on the continue button. Once everything okay, then we need to click on run flow. And the moment you will click on run flow and click on done, then you will see that the flow has been started. So now you can see it over here, it has started and waiting for an approval. Now the question over here is where we can check our approvals. So we can check our approval within the action items. Over here you will see that there is a drop down. Then you need to click on this approvals, and over here you will find that your request for approval is waiting over here, and you need to select this one and you need to click on approve or reject. And the moment if you will click on approve, other user who is also part of the request chain, his approval not required. If you remember that we have assigned Alex as well as myself, Mukesh Ranjan, for as an approver for this particular approval. So now let's jump into the Outlook. There also we can get the option to approve. So let's look into that. I am going to open the Outlook of Alex Wilbur, and over here you will see that he has got first to respond demo, and within that he is getting this option to approve or reject. And who is the requester? Megan Bowen. And over here you will see that I have mentioned that this flow is being created by Mukesh Ranjan over here, that is not being changed. Another thing you should notice over here, we are getting the button over here to approve or reject. This is called actionable messaging. From this particular message you can directly take the action whether approve or reject, and it would be captured by Power Automate. So let's do it over here, and I will write that approve, and the moment you will do that, the approval which is existing in my queue, that will go away. So what I mean to say that, let me show you. So over here I already showed that this is into my queue, and now I am going to approve from the Alex Outlook, and over here I will come and click on submit, and now you will see that I have approved it. Now let's go to my queue and let's look into that what we are getting over there. And I will come over here. Let me refresh it. And the moment you will refresh it, you will find that there is no request to approve. Now let's go into my Outlook to check my email, what message it is showing. So guys, I am inside my Outlook and over here you will see that this message, and this message, what it is saying, others have already completed this request. And why it is so? Because our approval is first to respond type. That means any person who takes the first action, his or her action is considered as the final one. So now let's proceed further. So now next we will see that what is the body of the output we are getting over here. So let me copy this one and let's go to the Visual Studio Code, and over here I will paste it. Now you will see it over here. It is telling that for the outcome we are getting approved, and from where we are getting the responses, and the responder is Alex Wilbur. One thing you notice over here, this is square bracket, that means an array. Why it is so? That is because responses are coming from the multiple people. For this scenario, this is of type first to respond, so we captured only the first response over here, but it is coming within the array. In a scenario like everyone should approve, in that scenario you will find that all the responses should be captured within this particular array, and which is belongs to this particular responses key. And within that we are having responder. It gives us the ID of that particular response. Then we are having display name, email, tenant ID, what is the user principal name, who has done the approval. It is also giving us when the request is being sent, that is request date, when the response is being sent, response date, when the approval is being given, that is coming inside the response date, and what action taken. For this case, we are having the response from Alex. One thing you should notice over here, within our flows, we are using the condition to check the outcome, and this is the outcome we are checking. Let me show you again. So if you go to the flow, I will click on edit, and over here you will see that I am checking the condition, and within the condition I am checking the outcome. And what I am checking, if it is approved, then only you have to take the decision where you want to go. If it is approved, then it will go to the yes condition. If it is not approved, then it will go to the no condition. This is the parameter I am talking about, which is coming from this action body, and that is what we are discussing over here. So this outcome holds the approved, that means it will go to the yes condition. So now let's proceed further and let's look into other approval type. So over here I will come and this time I am going to select approve, reject, everyone must approve. So I am going to select this one. So here you are getting two options only, either approve or reject, but it must be approved by everyone. Then only the request is considered to be approved. If anyone rejects the request, then it is considered as rejected. So let's look into that. I'm going to change the title over here. So I'm going to keep demo approvals. Another change I'm going to do over here is that instead of equal to, I'm going to change it to does not contain reject. So over here, why I have kept doesn't contain, and over here we have mentioned reject. So what it means, let's understand by executing it. So I am going to save it, and then I am going to run the test over here, and then I will select manually, and then I click on test, and over here I will click on run flow. And the moment I will do run flow, then it will start executing the approval, and over here you will see that it has started the approval process and it is waiting for the response. And now if I will go inside the approval dashboard over here, then you will find that we get this approval. So remember that last time when any of the person who has approved this request, then it is considered as approved. But for this time this is not the case, because this flow type is everyone must approve. So let me do that. If you will click on this, then over here you will see that a pop-up will come and you will take the response over here. One thing you notice over here, you are getting the reassign option over here. You remember that in our configuration I have selected reassign as no. Because of that reason we are not providing capability to reassign this task to any of the other user. So for this case I am going to select the approve option over here, and then I will specify my comment over here, approved, and then I will confirm. So this is my approval. Now let's go to the flow again and check that whether it is still running or it has completed. So you will notice that even though a single person has approved, it is not marking it as a complete because this approval type is everyone must approve. So now let's go to the Alex Outlook. Over here I am playing a role of Alex as well. So I am going to Outlook of Alex, or I can go to the Alex dashboard also, where he can also get the approvals in his queue. But I am going to access the Outlook of Alex. Over here you will see that we got a mail called demo approvals, and over here it is expecting the response. So now I am going to take the action over here. I am also going to tell that approved and submit. The moment I will do that, you will see that it is get marked as complete in our flow execution. So let's go to the flow, and over here you will see that the flow is being completed because both of the approver has approved the request. Now over here I have mentioned about why I have used the outcome as doesn't contain reject. That is because of the outcome. So let's look into the outcome over here. Let me copy this one. Let's go to the Visual Studio Code again, and over here I will paste it, and now you will see that within this response we are having all the responder information. First responder is the Alex and the second one is myself. So over here, now another thing you have to notice that the outcome. So over here you will see that the outcome holds two approve, comma approve. So this is the approve from the first approver and this is the approve from the second approver. And within this chain, if any of the approver marked it as reject, then request is rejected. And that is what we are checking. We are checking that within the outcome, is there any reject is there with the help of doesn't contain condition. That is this one. So to see this in action, let's run this flow once again. So I am going to come over here, click on manually, test, run flow. And this time I am going to approve and then I will reject, and then we will look into what is the outcome we are going to get. So over here you will see that it has executed and now it started the approval process and waiting for approval. So over here I will come to the approval dashboard and over here I will select this one, and this time I am going to use this tick mark to approve, and over here it will open this one. I will provide comment, approve and confirm. So now I have approved it. But now I am going to Alex Outlook and there I will reject. So I am inside the Alex Outlook and over here you will see that we received a mail, and I will come over here and click on reject, and here I will tell reject, submit. The moment you will do that, then this process is marked as rejected. So let's jump into the flow, and over here you will see that it marked as completed. But this time you will see that over here it went to the rejected mode, and over here it rejected. And now let's look into the body. So let's capture this body part and go to the Visual Studio Code. I will paste the body code over here, and you will see that within the outcome we are having reject and approve, and this time within this string it is getting the reject option. That's the reason it marked as rejected. So for such kind of flow we must have, so such kind of approval type we must have to get all the responses as approved, then only the request gets approved. If any one of the person rejected, then it considered as rejected. So now let's proceed further and let's look into another approval type, and this time I am going to select custom response, wait for all responses. So over here you will see that some of the parameter is being introduced in such kind of approval type. Over here we can specify the custom value which might be needed as per the process, as per the business requirements. So over here you can specify the custom response, which you can specify as many as you can, but don't go beyond 5. That is the recommendation. So over here I am going to keep it as approve, reject, and one more we can keep on hold. So this is the benefit of using custom response, wait for all responses type of approval. It gives us option to specify the custom values over here for the responses. Next I am going to specify over here demo approvals, custom response, wait for all responses. One thing you should notice over here that this custom response, wait for all response is similar to approve, reject, everyone must approve. The only difference is that it gives us option to create our custom responses. But that is not the case with approve, reject, everyone must approve. It gives you only two options. This is one difference. Another difference you can find that over here it is telling that everyone must approve, and over here wait for all responses. So the difference between that, if anyone rejects first instance, so it gets rejected and the flow gets completed. But within the custom response wait for all responses, it waits for all the responses should be completed, then only it will mark it as complete. The flow should be completed. It will wait for all the responses, even though if he has selected or she has selected a response as reject or approve or whatever. This flow type wait for all the approvals should come, then only it mark it as completed. Now once it is being done, let's proceed further, and within the condition we are not going to do any changes because it is just going to check that whether any of the person has rejected or not. So it will check for the reject keyword inside the outcome string, because every decision is comma separated string within the outcome key. You can also put some of the other logic if you want that, but for the demo purpose we are going to the simple logic. And over here whatever you want to do, approved or on hold, you can think of any of the other if condition within this particular yes part of the logic. If it is on hold, then you have to take any further action as per your business requirement. However you want to design, you can design it, but for the demo purpose we are going to keep it as simple as just printing the values. So now let's save it. Now let's run it, and over here it is started and waiting for an approval. And let me go to the approval dashboard, and over here you will find that three options which we have specified. This is the custom option. So these are the custom values. If you remember that we have specified approve, reject and on hold. So to prove you the point, even though if you reject it, in that scenario also flow is in running state and it will wait for all the responses. So over here we are telling that rejected for Mukesh Ranjan, confirm, and over here you will see that it is still in the running state and it is expecting all the responses should be provided. So now let's jump into the Alex Outlook, and from there we can approve it. Now I am inside the Alex Outlook, and over here you will see that we are getting three options: approve, reject and on hold. So I am going to approve it over here and tell that approve, submit, approved, submit. And now let's go to the Power Automate to verify it, and now over here you will find that it has completed the flow, and if you go to the flow you will find that it marked as rejected. So now let's look into the body. Over here I will capture the body of it and go to the Visual Studio Code to verify what are the things we are getting inside this JSON. So I am inside the Visual Studio Code. Let me paste it, and over here you will see that we are getting the outcome reject and approve. The first person has rejected and the second person has approved it, and the comment over here what he has provided, rejected the first person and the second person has approved it. This you already aware about. There is no differences. The only difference is that is the approval type behavior. The earlier one, if anyone rejects, then it rejected. But with the custom response wait for all responses flow type, all the responses to complete to mark the flow as completed. So now let's proceed further and let's discuss about the last approval type over here, that is custom response wait for one response. It is similar to the approve, reject, first to respond, but this time ability to create the custom responses. So I am leaving this option for your trial purpose. You should try that how it is going to behave as an exercise. So now let's proceed further and let's look into the create an approval. So let me delete this one over here, and I am going to add over here create an approval, and over here I am going to select this one. So the difference between the create an approval and start and wait for an approval, you must be noticed that in our earlier exercises, as soon as the flow gets executed, the start and wait approval is waiting for the response. But with the create an approval, it will not wait for the action to complete. It will go to the next action. And if you look into approval type, then you will find that there is no changes over here. There is no changes and there is no differences from the start and wait approval type. For the demonstration purpose, I am going to keep it simple. I am going to select the first to respond, and I will give a title create an approval demo, and this is going to be Alex, and I will specify my name. So the benefit of using create an approval is that you can specify any of the action which you want to take after creating an approval. So for the demonstration purpose, I am going to show you the way by which you can send the approval action to the Microsoft Teams so that user will get the actionable message inside their Teams and they will take the decision to approve or reject. And with the help of create an approval flow, so to create such functionality, I am going to use a connector from the Microsoft Teams over here. I am going to use Microsoft Teams over here, Microsoft Teams, and over here I am going to select the first option, post adaptive card in a chat or channel. So I'm going to select this one, and over here it is giving me an option. How do you want to post it? As a bot. So I'm going to choose as Flowbot, and over here post in, I'm going to select chat with Flowbot, and over here we need to specify the recipient, and this is going to be the Alex Wilbur, or I'm going to specify my name. And over here adaptive card, the benefit of using create an approval, it will offers us the adaptive card as well. So if you will come over here dynamic content and type adaptive Teams adaptive card, then you will get this option. You need to select it, then it will generate the actionable adaptive card. Now we are done with this step. Now next, as soon as create an approval gets executed, it will create an approval, then it will come to the post adaptive card, and then it will complete the flow. But that is what I don't want. It should wait for the response, and to make it wait for the response, I'm going to add another action within the approval connector, that is wait for approval. So I'm going to type approvals, and over here I'm going to choose wait for an approval. But over here it is asking for approval ID. From where we can get this ID? So we will get it from the dynamic value, and over here you will see that create an approval. All these dynamic values are coming from this particular step. So I will come over here, and over here you will see that it is giving us the approval ID as well. So I will select this one. Now we are done with this step. Now let's proceed to the condition, and condition I am going to choose the outcome. Over here select outcome, select this one, and it will check for is equal to true. It is there, then it will come to the yes block, else it will go to the no block. So now we are done with all the steps. Let's save it and let's run it, and I am going to run it by clicking on test, select the manually test, click on continue, run flow, done. So over here you will see that it is started. It is going to create an approval, then it will send it to the post adaptive card within a chat. So now it has created an approval, and over here you will see that it has thrown an error. Why we got an error? That is because we have specified multiple values over here. That is not allowed. It need to be specified within the array, and that need to be iterated. For a time being I am going to remove it, and later we can cover this one, as I wanted to demonstrate you how to send the approval message to the Teams with this example. So let me fix this one, and then we will execute it with a single user, and later point of time in some other example we can look into how we can iterate it. For a time being I will go to the flow, and over here I will come and I will remove Alex from this place, and I am going to keep only myself, so that I will get the approval actionable message within my Teams. Now save it, and now let's try to run it again. Test and flow, done. Over here it has started execution, and you will see that this time it passed, and now it is waiting for an approval. So now let's proceed to the Microsoft Teams. Guys, I am inside my Teams chat, and over here you will see that this bot has sent me the actionable adaptive card over here, and over here we are getting two options, approve or reject. So I am going to click on approve, and then I will specify the value over here, approve from Teams, and submit. And as soon as we will submit this one, we will look into the flow. It will marked as completed. So let's jump into the flow, and over here you will see that it has completed now. And now let's look into the compose option, and you will see that it came into this particular yes block because we have marked it as approved. So now let's verify the outcome, and outcome we will get from the wait for an approval. And over here if you will grab the body of this one, and let's go to the Visual Studio Code. I'm inside the Visual Studio Code, and let me paste over here, and then you will find that outcome we got the approve over here, and within the responses I'm having the responder is myself, Mukesh Ranjan. So guys, this is how you can send the approval action to the Microsoft Teams. And this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. And on this note, I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye. Take care.